Hello guys, welcome to the next video tutorial of Android app development program. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about the switch case statements of nested type. Like nested type statements gives very valuable conditions like switch loop inside a switch loop. By this, we can improve the program abilities and skills of the program. Now, going to this tutorial, yesterday we have completed the statements called a switch statement, which has a case values like we have to select a case value and the case value will be executed, and there are some statements we have learned yesterday, and these are some statements which are mandatory for every switch statement. If these are not there, the switch statement cannot be executed properly. So in now today's class, we are going to learn about the nested switch statements. What are the nested switch statements? In this nested switch statements, there is a switch case with a variable like count. Here the expression is count here. This is the parameter count, and here another switch case inside a switch case. Inside this is a outer switch case and this is called as the inner switch case. This is the nested loop. So inside a switch case there is another switch case. We can write another switch case in the case 0 also. Like we can write here, there is a case 1, right? We can give a space like this and we can write a switch variable here also, and put a name called as choice. We can write a switch case statement like this also inside, but the choice variable must be declared on the previous, like this. We have to create a variable called as choice equal to obj dot next integer. So we have to create a variable called as a choice in the before statement, so we can give a nested loop like this. This is the use of the nested loops, and through these nested loops we can use the variables which are on the parent switch case. If there are any switch cases in the parent, like here we have a parent switch case like count, here we can use the all the properties of the count to the target also. So these are some advantages of the nested switch case statements. So in this program, the how it runs, well, let us see like this. Now first it's come to the switch case of count like this here. Like first it will execute count variable is equal to 1. So it comes to here count variable we have given as a 1 at the output end. So the case 1 will be executed here first here. Later on in the case 1 there is a switch case statement which is given like target. Here switch target is the parameter here. So it goes to variable target and asks the variable to select a case inside a switch case of a target. There are some switch cases inside the target nested switch case. So we have to select a case, like here there are two cases like case 0 and case 1 inside the switch, inside the nested switch. So we have to select a case value for it 0 or 1. For suppose we have selected a case value like 0 here. We have selected a case value 0, so it executes the case value 0 and it prints a value here system.out.println. This gives the print value. In previous languages like in C language or any language, other languages, there are some statements to print some statements. In C language we have printf statement for execution of any or any other, like target equal to 0, target is 0. The statement will be printed in C language for the printf in C language, but in coming to the Java, it will be different from C language. Here we have to type system.out.println. This is the statement for the print statement. We can print anything in the execution through this statement. Here the target 0 will be printed if you select the case 0. If we given a value called as a case 1 here, the next case will be executed. The target is 1. Otherwise the case 2 will be executed. If we give a value which is not inside this switch case, like if we give a name of a character or a number which is not there in the switch case, like I have given a character called as A, there is no case belonging to the character A, so it will automatically executes the default statement inside the nested switch default. Nested switch default will be executed, and later on it will continues to the outer loop, and it executes the whole program and ends the program while the execution is over. This is for the nested switch statements. So now coming to the next statements, they are called iterative statements. There are 4 types of iterative statements in the Java language. Like they are while loop, do while loop, and for loop and nested loops. These are the 4 types of iterative statements. What is meant by a iteration? Iteration means the repetitions of the loop again and again while the given conditions is there. First, suppose if I equal to 0 and I will be at a condition called as I less than or equal to 2 or greater than or equal to 2, it will be executed number of times. Like repetition of the statements will be considered all the times. These are called as iterative statements. Now coming to the while loop, there is a syntax for the while loop here. Here while loop contains a condition which gives a value. For example, I have a condition here that while I less than or equal to 2. This is the condition I have given in a while loop here. For example, I saw while less than or equal to 2. In this, the condition is I less than or equal to 2. So if this condition is true, it will enter inside the loop and executes all the statements inside the loop. Otherwise, it does not execute any statements and comes out of the loop. It does not enter into the loop at all if the condition is false. If the condition is true, everything in the loop will be executed. If the condition is false, everything in the loop will not be executed and it terminates the program fully. Here the body of the while can be empty. It's a null statement. It is no problem for at all. So if it is a false also, it does not execute any program. So this is the example for the while loop I am giving here. We can make any conditions to the while loop, and if the condition is true, it will enter into the program, or it will enter into the all the statements below the while loop condition. Otherwise it terminates from the loop. This is called while loop. Coming to the do while loop. Do while loop means it does all the conditions in the program or steps or statements given in the loop. After coming out of the loop, it checks the condition if it is true or false. If it is true, it executes all the statements. Otherwise, it will terminate from the program and it does not execute any statements inside the loop. This is the syntax of the do while loop. For example, I have a statement here like system.out.println. I am a robot. This is a statement I have given inside a do loop. So if this do loop contains this syntax here, system.out.println I am a robot, this should be printed in the this should be printed on the output screen. So it will be executed first, and it comes to the condition that if there is a condition like if I equal to j, I am giving it as a condition, and I will give a values of I and j in the previous loop, like I is equal to, for suppose I equal to 9 and j is equal to I plus 2 minus 2. This is the condition I am giving here. So if I equal to j will be this is the condition I have given, I equal to j. If I is the I variable is equal to the j variable, then it will execute this statement in the output as I am a robot here. Otherwise, if I is equal to I is not equal to j, for suppose I equal to I plus 2, there here I j value is 11 and I value is 9. So if it is not equal to j here, it does not executes I am a robot statement and terminates from the loop. This is called as a do while statement. Now coming to the next statement, this is called as first statement. First statement has a initialization, condition and a iteration. These are the three types. We have to give a initialization condition and final condition there, and iteration condition here. Initialization, for example, I have a condition here. For example, we are considering as for loop as I is equal to 1, and there is a condition called as I less than or equal to n plus 1, and I minus minus. This is the conditions we have given here inside a for loop. Yeah, this is a for loop. It starts from the value 1 here. Initialization is value 1 here, and it goes and executes all the statements inside the loop here, and at last it should be decremented and it should come to the n plus 1 value, and it every time it decrements a value, and it will print a value called as, for example, let us see a small example for I equal to 0 and I less than or equal to n and I plus plus. This is a small and easiest example I am giving here. I starts from a 0 to n values, and it will be incremented by every value. Like if I equal to 0, and we should substitute inside the statements all the values in I as 0, and we should increment the value to 1. I equal to I plus plus, here the increment operator is there here, so we should increment the operator from I value to 0 to 1. Since we are incrementing all the values, it will execute the value up to n value. First, suppose we have initialized the value n called as here. For example, we have given a value like system.out.println. We are printing the value of I value here. Enter the value of I. Enter the value of n. I am printing a value here. I am giving a value like n equal to obj dot next integer value I am giving. So if I have given a value called as n equal to 6, it executes the statement up to the I value equal to 6 times. That equal to I equal to 0, it will execute once the loop. otherwise later it will be incremented to 1, and now the I value will be incremented from 0 to 1, and it will be executed all the below statements here, and it will be terminated, and it will be incremented to the 2, and all the statements will be executed, and it will be incremented to 3, and it will be incremented to 4 later on, and it will incremented to 5, and it will incremented to 6. If I is less than or equal to, here the condition will be checked here. If I less than or equal to 6 or less than 6, it is equal to 6, so the loop will be terminated for the I value equal to 6. If it is less than or equal to, it will execute to the 6 also, and later on it goes to increment value for 7. Now it terminates from the loop. This is the statement called as first statement. For many of the cases we use the first statement for arrays, using giving the elements into the array, or otherwise we'll use the first statements for nested if else statements, like while considering a matrix we use the for loops. Many of the cases we use the for loop there, and for loop is the most wanted loops inside the Java classes, and we'll use most of the for loops in the iterative classes, like matrices and doing some quadratic expressions programs. We'll use the for loops here, so we'll meet those in the next classes also. So coming to the next slide, iterative statements, variable declaration is limited in the loop. So in the iterative statements, these are some conditions we have to follow for every iterative statement. Variable declarations must be very low limited in the loop. Limited variable declarations we have to declare inside a loop. If the loop has extended the declarations more variables, it will be a complicated case, and the time complexity of the program will be increased more. Loop variables can be declared within the loop itself. So the variables which have given inside the loops here, like I have given a variable called as I equal to 7, so we have to declare inside the loop like int I equal to 7, we have to declare like this. If we declare outside variables, it will be some complicated case here. So these are some conditions we have to concentrate on the iterative statements. More than one statement can be included in initialization and iteration for a loop statements. So we have to include a one statement for the initialization and iteration for a loop statement. If there is a statement like loop statement, we have to initialize and iterate for only one statement specifically. These are some conditions of the iterative statements.